Hi, my name is Caitlin, and I will be talking a little bit about my teacher-parent conference that I am holding. This specific one that I'm holding is because I want to formulate goals for one of my students. In my preschool classroom, I have a 4-year-old boy named Jimmy. He's a foster boy. He's a very intelligent child, learns very quickly, but because of his unstable background, that diversity, he does have some behavioral issues that makes it challenging for him and me both. He just loves to touch the other students, mess with them, mess with stuff that's not his own, just bother other students and just cause general chaos in the classroom, which makes it really hard. So the purpose of this meeting is to formulate goals with the parents and to discuss the behavioral issues and how can we improve and resolve those Jimmy's behavioral issues. So I explained different situations with the parents, sitting in his school in his little pod. He just touches the students on either side of him, even though I try to place him near students that are generally a little bit more relaxed with that kind of thing. It wouldn't really bother them, but it's really not fair to the other students, and it makes it very difficult. So they have also told me that they see this behavior at home also. He means well, he has great intentions, super sweet. I even told the parents a lot of the stories, like how he's wanting to help me. He'll apologize to other students. He'll go play with the student. If there's a student playing by himself, he will go play with that student. Like, he seriously has the best heart ever, little Jimmy does. But sometimes his ADD and ADHD just get the best of him, and he just has to mess with everything, and that just disrupts the classroom, which is why I want to discuss this with the parent. So I would probably plan about a half-hour long meeting, just because it's short, so it's not like it's going to drag on and on, because then the parent's like, I don't have time for this 2-hour meeting, but yet half hour is plenty long. You can discuss the issues, come up with solutions and a plan, and without being rushed still. So half-hour meeting. I think it would depend. I don't think I would have it like every 2 weeks, because that's just a lot to me. But it would just depend on how it's going. If they want to meet with me sooner, they can initiate the meeting with me. I'll initiate with them. But if things are going smooth, I don't think we would have a meeting super often. I mean, maybe once a month, just however we feel needed. I don't think it has to be a set thing, because then it becomes more of a task and more of a burden instead of a time that we are informing each other and working off of each other, meaning me and the parent. So I don't want that to happen either, where it becomes a burden or a task, so to speak. So I will begin my conference, which I want it to be relaxed so we can just understand each other by just maybe a minute or two of small talk, catching up on life or whatever, and then diving into the topic of Jimmy and his behavioral issues and start formulating goals for Jimmy. So I want them to tell me how he behaves at home also, as much as they're willing to tell me, just so I can tell them how he behaves in my classroom, and we can compare and figure out what consequences might work best, or, in my classroom, if he responds well to, getting a sticker taken away or having a prize system set up. So some of the examples that I thought of, like the behavioral goals would be, Jimmy would maybe get a sticker if he can keep his hands to himself for 20 minutes. And then after he builds up a certain amount of stickers, he gets some kind of prize. We would have to work that all out with the parents, what they're comfortable with. And then slowly that 20-minute time frame would just get lengthened. Then it's like a half hour. If he keeps his hands to himself for a half hour, he gets to put a sticker on. And the goal would be that would motivate him to keep his hands to himself and to think about it. Another goal would be that I remind him less than 20 times a day to keep his mind on his work. Now that sounds like a lot, but my little ADHD child in my classroom, his mind is just going constantly, and he gets sidetracked very easily. So to me, even if I only have to tell him 10 times a day to keep his mind on his work, or maybe that just means walking by him and putting my hand on his shoulder so he knows that I'm watching him and that he needs to keep his mind on his work. So that would be another goal. And then he would also, if we achieve that goal of less than 20 times a day, he would get another sticker for his chart. So he would have the opportunity to earn several stickers throughout the day, which I think is awesome because that will motivate him to want to see how many stickers he can get in one day, which I think is a great motivator. And then I would end my meeting by just telling the parents to ask me any questions, any more thoughts, concerns. And I also would want to encourage them that they can initiate a meeting with me. If they see a change in his behavior, good or bad, they want to discuss something with me, they don't like something I'm doing in the classroom, I want them to feel comfortable enough that they will initiate the meeting with me. So that would be my overall goal with that. Another example I was thinking of, so that was like a very diverse example with a child who has a very diverse background. How to deal with that, it's kind of a sticky situation, but we discuss it and we all learn from it. So another example I have is I have a little 4-year-old girl in my classroom. She doesn't cause any problems. She's what you would think of as like the little angel student. Well, I would still like to hold a parent-teacher conference because I just want to deepen the mutual knowledge between me and the parent. She's not a problem at all, but it's sometimes easy for the perfect students to like slip through the cracks. It's like you don't really know if they're getting the attention that they need because they're just so good all the time. You don't necessarily give them extra attention that they might be craving. So little Lily, she's 4, and she loves to just play by herself. She does awesome on her schoolwork academically. So I just called the parent in to just tell them like how she's doing. If she ever complains, because what my worst fear is that she goes home and tells the parent like, oh yeah, this other student picks on me or whatever, and the teacher never does anything about it. I would maybe see that all the time just because there's so much going on and she's so quiet and she's not the type to just lash out against a student who's picking on her. So I want to know if she goes home and tells the parents of those things, because I want to know that and keep an eye out for that. I'm not a perfect teacher, so little things like that can slip through the cracks. But that's why I want to just deepen that mutual knowledge between us, which is the purpose for holding this conference. So I would keep it to like 20 minutes-ish because there's no really big issue. I just want to talk and catch up on how they think she's doing, how I think she's doing, what they want me to change, if there's anything I can do different for her in the classroom, if there's any advice they can give me for her. After all, they do see her, how she acts after school, before school, does she want to come to school, what I can do to improve the situation. I would give the parents an option to have it whenever they want. If it works best for them to come right after school lets out, that's fine. Whether it's an evening meeting, I'd even offer a weekend meeting if that's when it works for them to come in. So I want to make sure they have plenty of time to discuss what they want to discuss. They can tell me what they think I should do differently. I will take their advice into consideration. I would also tell them just like how her average day looks like, what she does, what toys are her favorites, just so they kind of know how her days go. I don't know if she would go home and tell them because she's just a quieter student. But sometimes those kind of students, I want to make sure they're feeling like they are loved and needed as much as they should, because we do love them and need them. And I also want the parent to be able to feel comfortable enough with me to initiate a meeting with me. That is my main goal, because if there is something going on that little Lily goes home and says, yeah, little Bobby is picking on me, and the teacher never does anything about it. I don't even know if she knows. I want the parents to feel comfortable enough coming to me as the teacher and telling me that, because I want to know that, and I will deal with that situation accordingly. So after we discuss, when they come in for the meeting, I will just, small talk, catch up on life for a few minutes, talk about their child. They'll tell me about their child. I'll tell them about how the classroom how she does in the classroom, how the average day looks. I want them, and then I will conclude the meeting by just asking for any more questions, comments, or concerns, just so that way we can just deepen that mutual knowledge of the situation and benefit everybody, and the student and the parent, and everyone can just be better off, and then the student can learn and feel more comfortable. I want the parents to be able to feel comfortable having these little meetings. The parents will feel more comfortable, hopefully, talking to me and discussing issues with me, which in turn will be able to give me advice how their student can be benefited in my classroom. And that is my overall goal, is to benefit each and every student as much as possible, and to keep the parent involved in their student's education, so we can all just build off of each other and learn from each other, no matter our diverse backgrounds, our cultures, whether it's a little foster child, whether it's the quiet little girl who doesn't say much. I want everyone to feel welcome and included in my classroom, no matter their situation and circumstances. Thank you.